we had the unique opportunity to sit here with Jessica, also known as Jalana, Commodore Jalana, the space wizard. You have been a part of, and I just wanted to chat with you a bit to kind of get some perspective from someone in your position. And I know we've interviewed a few times in Newsies, but hey,
Mhm.
can never have too many interviews. Could you? How long have you been with SB118? When did you join?
Um, I have joined 13 years ago this year. So in June, it was my 13th year anniversary.
Oh wow, that's a significant amount of time when you consider
It is.
how many play by emails are don't even last that long, much less have
Yes. Yeah,
members who
that's
have been
true.
around that long.
Mm-hmm.
Have you always played Jalana?
That's pretty good, Freya. Yeah, yes, actually, in a way, okay, there was a period of time where I didn't play Jelana because she in her story wasn't at a point to become first officer, so I did a different character for that one, but after becoming CO, I changed back to Jelana.
So,
But other than that, I did the academy classes with Jelana, so yes, I have always played her.
out of curiosity, why did you choose not to have Jalana be the first officer?
Oh, no, okay. In her story, she had a little bit of a hiccup at some point because her fiance turned out to be a murderer who killed his family. And she had a nervous breakdown. And that is why she got into the habit of taking REM suppressant and uppers during the day. She lost her CMO license at that point because of the drug abuse. And that is not a position to become a VFO.
Right.
So, yeah, she had to go through rehab first before she was able to do something. Yeah.
Well, that makes complete total sense. But I also love
Yeah.
that you weren't shy about exploring that type of storyline because I think it's
Yeah.
one that can resonate with people. Some people here may have had struggles in that vein. I have been touched by my sister-in-law, one of my sisters-in-law. She struggled with addiction. She's on the other side. She's been clean for about 12 years now. So think it's not necessarily something we should shy away from and just make sure that when we
Yes.
tell the stories that we tell them with sensitivity and grace and hope.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I For me it was also kind of a retelling, though I didn't struggle with drugs, I struggled with alcohol. But I had established early on that Jelana doesn't take the taste of alcohol, so it made no sense to make her alcoholic. And also in space we usually have synthahol, so it didn't make sense either. But she was a medical officer who had access to medications, so that made a lot of sense to go that route instead.
It kind of reminds me
Yeah.
of House a little bit.
Yes, a little bit. Yeah.
Just a little bit. So
Mhm.
it also so it spoke to you in a way too. It was a way of exploring your
Yes.
own struggles.
Yes. And seeing her fiance being thrown into jail, knowing that he had killed his family for a reason I don't even remember now, but she struggled a lot with that, had nightmares, so she couldn't sleep, and naturally went to the REM suppressant to get rid of the nightmares. So I had to have a follow up because we know REM sleep is very important to be rested during the day, and as a medical officer, she should be. So she got the other medication to counter that effect, and then suffered hallucinations, and someone caught her sneaking out some of these drugs, and that was where the starting of turnaround began, because someone actually had to talk to Jesus, come to Jesus to talk with her. Otherwise, she might have been struggling for a lot longer. But yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, I still think that's a pretty interesting way to have something that kind of connects you to the character, even if it's not exactly the same. Is really, I think it could be done. It'd be a powerful method of storytelling and a power method of kind of, I don't know, maybe was it therapeutic for you at all?
Yes. When I went through my alcoholic stuff, I had friends who helped me, but I never actually had talked about it. After it was done, and I never talked much about it. So being able to role play through this, and through getting the help, and through the struggles, and through the recovery, was actually really therapeutic for me. Yeah, I liked it a lot.
That's awesome. But then she came out the other side, just like you did. She came out the other
Yeah,
side. She's
she did.
hopefully, stronger for it. She seems like to me, she seems like a very strong character, like someone who you look at and you don't really get the sense of strength from her just when you first see her. But then when you
Yeah.
really think about her and look at her and see how she is in the way you write her and you realize what she's been through, she's a lot stronger than you might realize at
Oh,
first.
absolutely. The first impression usually is like she's tiny. She's like 5'5" or 5'0". I don't remember. She's very small. She's very friendly. She is like the hugging mom and welcomes everybody. But when you see through her history what she went through, what she does is she chooses kindness. And you know that if she wouldn't do that, you would be in a lot of problems, a lot of trouble. Because she could go rampage and kill everybody if she would want to, but she doesn't want to. She chooses to be kind.
So did you when you went through this, you did most of the recovery. Was that through the writing or was active scenes or was that more through like flashbacks and things that you wrote kind of on
Both.
your own to work through it?
Yeah, we did both. I had a couple of people who wrote that with me, like my back then medical officer, who was also a friend to Jalana, helped with that. The counselor helped with that, and a couple of friends knew about it, but there are also lots of people who didn't know about it. And through the history, there were moments when she was supposed to get medication for something, so she had to complain about why she didn't want it, and just gained more support through that. And it has been years where we wrote this plot through the recovery and through the trauma of having to recover at some point. Because you get this fear in some moment that if I just take one more medication, you might actually fall back. You get a, however you call that, you fall back into going into having to use drugs, you know?
You regress.
But yes, exactly that. And
Fall off the wall.
having to, exactly, and having to tell your medical officer about that so they can watch out for that. Actually, it took over years. And so these parts are active writing, but there's also a lot of writing on my own, having scenes on her own where she struggles through things, or having a lot of headcanon or flashbacks. So both of these sides happening, passive and active.
That's awesome. So by the point that you were up for promotion to commanding officer, she was in a position where she could take up a position of leadership. You chose to bring her back. Could you tell us a bit about
Yes.
your first days as a commanding officer of a ship? And that was from the beginning, that was the Constitution, was it not?
Yes. Do you mean IC or OOC?
How about both?
Both. Okay, so first, OOC, I was in a panic.
You were in a panic. Why were you in a panic?
I used to be CO in another game when I used to be CO in another game before I came to SB for 10 years, and my ship was decommissioned. So I was in a panic. What if it does happen again? And that was also why for a while I didn't want to be CO because I was afraid of that. But when I then was declared to be the CO, I was in a bit of a panic, and it felt a bit much. But I was also very excited to be able to take this over because the former CO disappeared, and that was a bit of a struggle too. But mostly it was exciting and panic. I think, like honestly, in character for Jelana, it was was a lot of pride there. For one, because she had gone through her rehab and she was in a good place again. But also, she had only become joined about a week before becoming CO. So for her, there was this big moment of I did this and not my symbiont. So there was double pride in becoming a CO and doing it on her own. Yeah, and then it was just a lot of hustling to get everything set up and move over to the Constitution because we were still on the Apollo A at that point because that was where I had been before and where I did my exams and everything. But then I got my own ship, so we had to move to the Constitution. So there was a lot of planning, seeing what we can do if we want to change anything about the ship, where everybody should go, these kind of things. It was very busy and exciting. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Now, we've had a couple of ships launched within the last couple of years. That would be the USS Ronan, who is headed up by Brian, also known as Caragniac, We've also had the USS Chintoka, which is headed up by Jim, also known as Sarala. I'm sure they could have they have their own stories about transitioning to the position they are. Could you tell us about the first year of the Constitution and your first year as a CO? How long did it take you to find your feet and get your groove?
Oh, I'm not even sure if I found them by now.
And how long has it been?
It sounds funny. I've been CEO for 10 years, and I still every now and then have this thing that I feel like I'm paddling like someone who is just learning to swim, because every mission is different, and when we have crew that leaves or gets transferred, then of course things changes, and when we get new people, it changes again, because the dynamic on the ship is not only the CO or the leadership, it's the whole crew. And with every new member or member that leaves, the whole dynamic changes. So there are still times when I wonder how I'm doing this, or how to integrate everybody, how to make missions that everybody has fun with, and not let boredom come in there. So it still has moments where I'm thinking that I'm finding my feet, you know?
Still finding where to put them, huh?
Yes, exactly.
What has
But
been, I think, the most, what would you say has been the hardest part over the last 10 years of being a CEO?
creating missions without feeling you repeat the same story. Because we know Star Trek, we have the classic mission dials, and we have like temporal missions, we have ship battles, we have all kinds of missions. But they are mostly stories they have been told before, but you are recreating them in your own environment. But creating missions that feel different enough for people to have still fun in it, but having the similarity, to have them feel Star Trek, is a challenge sometimes, because you have ideas, and the idea might be very simple, but you also have to make sure that you implement it in a way that everybody can participate and everybody has fun with, which is one of the most fun stuff while doing your mission things, but it can also be the most challenging. It depends on so many things if a mission works or not. So it definitely is very, very challenging. And the other challenging part is pretty much on the same height, is to keep people engaged when things are difficult. Like, we have current times, everybody knows that there's a lot of shit show outside right now. So it's sometimes difficult to get the motivation to write when you are in a situation where you actually don't feel like writing, or you don't feel motivated, or you have so many things to deal with, you're very stressed. Making writing engaging and giving people ideas in those times is really hard. And making sure that you are understanding, but at the same time keep up that you, for example, have to have write full time, is difficult. And you have to find the balance between understanding and pointing out the rules, you know? So that can be a big challenge too.
How do you find that balance? What do you find helps you to achieve that balance?
For me, it's writing is my escape. So whenever I feel like I don't feel like doing anything, I know that writing makes me feel better. That escaping into the stories, into the character that I have grown to love so much, actually helps me wanting to write. Because I can't forget about everything else for a little while, and that helps me tremendously.
What is your favorite thing about your position? You've been a CO for 10 years. You're at the rank of Commodore. And it's hard. It's a tough job. It's one of the toughest jobs in the fleet. But obviously you do it not just because it's something we need, but I feel like you have a
Yeah.
passion for it.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, if my crew was to listen, I think the first thing they would say that I love is the shinies. I like handing out shinies so much, like in character, out of character. Um, Shinies is what I call the awards, the service ribbons, the recommendations, all these kinds of things. I just love it because it shows that we have this massive appreciation about our people, about the plots we write together, the time we put in, the bonds that we form. I love that so much. otherwise, I really, really, really enjoy seeing everybody write a story together. Like all these people from different parts of life, the different ages, different occupations, everything, and they come together writing a story that is coherent most of the time. Um, that just is magic to me, and I love that so much.
If you had to choose a different ship, if you had to choose something that wasn't the Connie, what would you choose?
That is an unfair question because I never ever wanted anything else but a Galaxy class ship, and the Connie is a Galaxy class ship, so that is not going to happen. Just as Jared just said, that's not going to happen. I will not ever choose a different ship.
What do you see in the future for your crew and for Jalana? Do you
Oh, that is a hard question. Um, well, I hope, of course, that there will be many, many more stories. Yeah, second Galaxy class is a good idea. I, of course, hope that there will be that we will continue to have fun and write stories together. That there will be people who will remain with us for a long, long time. For Jelana, I don't know. I never think of her in the in the direction of, for example, ranks. I'm not sure if she would be happy as an admiral at headquarters or something because she loves the ship. Um, but I think I just want her to be happy where she is with people that she loves, and that is what I'm striving for. And I have that right now, so possibly just going the way where it is right now, and keep continuing with that, sharing the stories with everybody, and having characters around that enjoy being together, or they can even hate each other. As long as people write that, I'm happy with it. I really would like to see that. Doesn't happen too often.
Well, that's awesome. I really appreciate you coming in and chatting with me a little bit just to get to know you and your character a little bit better. Here's to
Absolutely, I'm happy.
for 10 times 10 more years. Yeah, I know it's not, but
Thank you.
here's to many decades more in StarBase 19 with Jalana and hopefully the Connie and not another Galaxy class.
Yes, with the Connie. Thank you.